we get to logarithms, we should already know the rules of exponents. But again, we forget the rules of exponents all the time. So make sure that you go back and review them. It's going to be important for the rules of logarithms and kind of making those connections, but also when we're simplifying and solving, a lot of things can be to our benefit just remembering our rules of exponents. So for instance, if I had the logarithm of base, not 8, logarithm of base 3 of a 1 over square root of 2, no, square root of 3 squared. All right, and let's say we wanted to go ahead and evaluate this. Now, there are some things with the rules of exponents we do. We could take this 2 and put it into the front and then just kind of work on here. But I think it's also important just to, before we even get to that, let's kind of simplify this argument. Remember, we can rewrite the square root of a number or any radical from there as a rational power. So the square root of 3 is the same thing as 3 to the 1/2 power, right? So remember, the m root of x to the n is simply just going to be x to the n over m. And then also remember, we have, this is in the denominator, right? So if I want to rewrite this in the numerator to go ahead and solve this, all I simply need to do is going to negate the power. So if I had 1 over x to the n, I can rewrite that as x to the negative n. Okay, again, these are just going to be these rules of exponents. So by rewriting this, I can have this as a 3 to the negative 1/2 power. So 3 to the negative 1/2 power and then squared. Now again, remember our rules of exponents. If I have x to the n raised to the m, that just simply means x to the n times m, right? We can, don't know what's happening there. There you go. Let's go back. X to the n times n. So we're multiplying these. So what is going to be a negative 1/2 times a 2? Negative 1/2 times 2 is just going to be a negative 1. So again, that's base 3. Sorry about that. So therefore now I have a log base 3 of 3 to a negative first power. And again, hopefully you remember your rules of logarithms. And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this can quickly, easily be evaluated for -1. And again, I didn't use any rules of logarithms. I was just, well, I did at the end. But all I simply was doing was just simplifying this using our rules of exponents.